Hi guys, Elite here with another art journaling process, and I am starting with this watercolor paper in my Dina Wakley Media journal, which as you can see has different types of surfaces in it. So on the left side there is a sheet of burlap, and thankfully for me, because I prefer them, the most of the pages in this journal are watercolor paper, which I really like. It's kind of different from what I'm used to. It's very porous and just beautiful. I really love how watercolors behave on it, and I kind of wish that was the only type of paper. So I started with some Dr. P.H. Martin radiant concentrated watercolors, and then I let it dry. And the reason that it looks so different now is because this paper had some gesso and paint on it that just reached it through the holes in the burlap. So you can see that it just behaves differently. The watercolor paper without anything is a lot more absorbent, and the paint just sinks in the watercolor. But if you use something like gesso or paint, it's not as absorbent. Usually paint is even less absorbent than gesso, which is somewhat, it depends. But that's why the middle is so light. It's because it has some gesso or paint. I can't remember what I used on the burlap. I think it was gesso. So that's me just playing around. I used a little bit of crayons and then some of these ink dabbers or daubers from Hero Arts, and they are permanent. So if you immediately spray some water, they will smear a little bit, but once they are dry, it's a waterproof ink. So it's nice to have a combination of just different products that react differently with water, but you should just know what it is that you're using and how it behaves. So I don't know, I didn't put a lot of thought into this page, and it became one of those pages that I kind of keep skipping on, or just doing something. Sorry, I didn't actually mean to include this part, but I just used this opportunity to add some gesso onto this piece of canvas, and now I'm adding a drop of the radiant watercolor, and this, I think it's a little bit hard to tell because this color is very vibrant in real life, but I think on camera it doesn't appear. It is called persimmon. It's I think the number is 3A, and it is just a gorgeous color. So I don't think I have anything like it. It's this really luminous type of orangey pink or something. Is very hard to describe, but persimmon is just gorgeous, from the Dr. P.H. Martin Radiant watercolor. It's in the set A. That's why I have it. I think I'm using it now again. It looks completely different when it's very concentrated in that drop, but once you add water to it, it's just so gorgeous. So now I'm just playing around, adding some more layers. No idea what I'm doing, and at some point it just becomes a little bit too much. That's how I feel about this page. I'm okay with how it turned out, and I feel like I'm learning a lot from all these experiments in my art journal. It's good practice to know also, when to stop, and when I'm using watercolors, then kind of have an idea of how many layers I can get away with before it becomes just overworked and loses that freshness and sketchiness and that effortless look, which I love. So I think this is still looking fun. I love all the dark colors around, and then the lighter area in the middle. And because I already have a layer of watercolors beneath it, then when I'm adding more on top, it really affects the way the colors look. So for example, just now, like a few seconds ago, I added some turquoise to the right side of the layout, and where it was on top of blue, it looks more blue, and where it was on top of yellow, it looks completely more greenish. So obviously because the colors are transparent, and that's the beauty of glazing watercolors and layering them. You just need to know a little bit of color theory so that you get what you want, the colors you want. So, having no idea what I'm doing, just adding some white sketchy lines with a Sharpie, some dots, and then I decided to bring in a stencil. And I'm using I don't know if I mentioned it, this is called a Feud Ball pen, and yeah, it's fantastic. It writes on everything. I really, really love it. The ink is waterproof, so you can use it and then add more watercolors on top of it and it won't smear. So this is really my go-to pen nowadays. And I decided to sketch this mask or stencil by Dina Wakley. It comes in a really nice set that has, also the parts in the stencil that are cut out. So for this one, for example, which is really nice because it's not like those particular stencils are more expensive than other ones, and you get kind of twice the product. So I added these, and now I'm going to add some more watercolor, and I think the black pen might smear just a little bit because I didn't wait and I didn't let it dry. But if you wait, then it's completely waterproof. So this is me not knowing when to let things go, and I think at this point soon it starts to be a bit too overworked for my personal taste. I completely agree. I had a comment from a lovely viewer, Dion, and she said on a video that I also mentioned how I felt the layout was, the art journal spread was overworked, that she enjoyed the depth and the layers, and it's completely true. There is when you work in layers and you add things on top of each other, you do get a depth to your work. And yeah, I guess for each one it's a different point in your process of just the result that you're after. And I think when I work with acrylic paints, I do like that layered look. Not too much, I still like things to look fresh, and I think that has a lot to do with color choices. That's probably like the biggest thing, because I think if you use light, fresh colors and you don't go into dark, grungy, browns and all that, which can be awesome and beautiful, it's just, personal taste and style. Type of thing. So I think if you keep it fresh, you can add a lot of details and a lot of layers and it will still look great. But when I'm working with watercolors, I find that that I tend to like the end result when it's kind of less is more, and it's a real challenge for me because I struggle when to stop. I want to paint, I want to keep on painting, and sometimes it's easier to work on something that you already have a direction, you already know kind of where you're going, than start with a blank page. But this is one of the reasons that I love YouTube, and I love this type of platform to connect with people and share my experiences, because you can see my process, you can see also how I learn and develop and change, and what I find works for me. and hopefully, you know, it helps you if you have the same type of struggles and issues that I have. So I just added a little bit, besides the watercolor that I added to my shapes, I also wanted a bit of contrast where they meet the background, kind of. So I added another layer of watercolors. And yeah, now I'm just adding some white accents. I really love that combination. That is something that I think you will see me doing for a long time, because I love those black and white, you know, sketchy lines. Something that I really enjoy how that looks. And now I'm just going to add some shapes again, not being able to leave things alone. No, but I felt that these shapes were a little bit disconnected, and I kind of needed something to make them feel more as a part of this page and not just these two shapes in the edges that are kind of lonely there. So I just added this thing, and now I'm going to add some journaling, and this will be it. And I just used that piece of paper, so I'm not going to smear the ink with my hand. So adding some journaling, and yeah, that's it. I stopped. I finally stopped. So this is my finished page. I hope you enjoyed this process. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions. I wish you a lovely day. Bye.